Follow along in this tutorial and let me show you how to create Instagram carousels using Adobe InDesign. That's right, InDesign. You've likely used Illustrator or even Photoshop to create IG carousels, but in this lesson, I'll show you a hidden feature in InDesign that will allow you to display pages horizontally and build some awesome Instagram carousels. So let's jump right into this lesson and start creating. Let's start by creating a new document for our carousel. So I'm going to click on the New File button. That'll bring up the new document window. I'm going to click the Web tab, and that converts the units from inches to pixels. In the width field, let's type in 1080. Hit your tab key a couple times till you get to the height field, and also type in 1080. The pages, we'll set those to 6. We'll have a cover slide and 5 additional slides with more information for our carousel. And then down below in the margins, let's type in 90 for all 4 fields, and then just go ahead and click Create. Now if I go to the Pages panel here, check this out. I have all 6 pages set up there. Now they're set up vertically. Now I mentioned we want this set up horizontally in a row so that when we create our carousel, it's just easier to design. So to do this, I'm going to go up to the options in the Pages panel. So the Pages panel options. It's a little hamburger icon here in the upper right hand corner of the Pages panel. So go ahead and click that. And down below, there's an option here called Allow Document Pages to Shuffle. Now you'll see a check mark applied to it. So just click it to uncheck it. So you can see once the check mark is not there, that's what you want. What does this allow us to do? Check this out. I'm going to click on page 2 and drag it next to page 1. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to click 3 and move it right after page 2. 4 goes after 3. And you can see what's happening here. I'm building out a carousel layout. Now I'm going to have to expand this, and that's okay. And you can see as I'm expanding the panel, the user interface becomes responsive too. So that's good. I can extend the Pages panel here because we want to move 6 all the way to the right side. And you can see now, if I extend it even more, all 6 pages are there in terms of building out our carousel. Now what I'd like to do is you can see there's not much space here in terms of pasteboard space. So I typically go to the InDesign dropdown, go to Preferences, and then I'm going to make my way down to Guides and Pasteboard. And in the vertical margins, it'll probably set to 72 pixels. Let's make that something like, let's try 700 for now and see how that looks. See how we've expanded the pasteboard. We might need some space and some room to work. It's better to add some more vertical space to your pasteboard there. Let's just move this doc back in a little bit, just so we can see our page layout a little bit better. Now I'm going to go to my CC libraries here. You can see that I've built out some of the assets that I'll be using when I'm building out this carousel. These assets can be found in the download folder, and the link is in the description below. You can find the link to all the assets and the document for this tutorial. Now, going back to the Pages panel, before we move on and start adding content on these pages, I want to actually create a couple parent page setups here. So I'm going to go to my A parent. You see up here, A parent, I'm going to double click that. And going back to my CC libraries, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rectangle frame tool. So just click, if it's not on the rectangle frame tool, just click and hold for the flyout and choose rectangle frame tool. Let me zoom in a little bit here because we're going to create a background on this. We're going to create a background on this page here, this master page. And I want to apply a fill with this darker purple color that I have here in my assets for this tutorial. Let's go back to Pages, and you can see if I click on the first page, that applied to all the pages in this layout. Now let's go back to the A parent for a sec. I'm going to make my way back up top. And since we're here, let's go ahead and add just some text here in the upper right hand corner. So I'm just going to type in my website, montilladesign.com. And the typeface, one of the typefaces we're using for this tutorial is Degular. Again, one of my favorites to use. So let's make this medium. And 12 point is fine for now. And I do want to make that white. Maybe we'll bump it up something like 16 for now. and I'm just going to double click one of the handles to make it snug. Actually, let's make this uppercase. A shortcut for uppercase is Shift Command K, and that will make everything uppercase. And I just want to move that off right here. So the top is on the margin. The top of the text frame is on the margin. And I'm just going to create another copy by holding Option Alt on Windows and dragging. And let's just type in the year. So 2022. And we'll make this flush right. So Shift Command R to align it to the right. And then we could just move in this a little bit. So again, if I go to the first page in my layout here, and all the pages have that element. Now we can increase the size if we think that's too small later on. I do want to create a secondary parent page. So let's go back to the parent, a parent, and let's click on the options, the pages panel options again. And there's an option here for a new parent. So go ahead and click that. All the settings here are fine. So we do want the prefix to be B. The name can be parent. The based on parent is none. And number of pages is 1. And you can see that it's 1080 by 1080. So go ahead and click OK. And you can see that creates a B parent now. Let's just go back to A parent. I'm going to copy all this content, go to B, Shift Option Command V, or simply edit, paste in place. I'm just going to change the fill color on this one. So let's go back to our CC libraries. In your case, just go to your swatches. It'll be in your swatches, those colors, or you can add them to your swatches. And I'm gonna click on this lighter purple for this version here. Now I'm gonna go back to pages. And so pages, or I should say slide 3 and 4 in our carousel will be this lighter color. So I'm gonna click on B parent and just drag it to that page 3 and do the same for page 4. So our carousel will have, it'll look like this. Let me zoom out. The first 2 pages will be the darker purple. The middle 2 will be the lighter, and then it'll finish off with the darker purple. So let's go ahead now and start adding the content on the first page or the first slide of our carousel. Now this IG carousel that I'm creating here is one that I recently shared on my own Instagram account. So I have all the content here, and I'll share this document with you. This is the slide text. So this is 5 tips to help manage your time. These are tips that I shared on my Instagram and created it into a carousel. So I'll just use the same content for this tutorial as well, which I'll share with you. So just copy and paste the text over. The first is the main title, which is 5 tips to help manage your time. So I'll just copy that and let's just paste it over. And I'm going to zoom in. And the typeface for this, for all the titles, you want the titles to really be impactful. You want to keep the viewer engaged. So having a strong, bold typeface is the first step in engagement. So let's make the typeface Rift, and I'll share the link to this. It's an Adobe font that you can also download. Rift is a really cool font, and I'm really going to bump this up in size. So let me just increase the size of the text frame, and let's make the point size 204. And we'll tighten up the leading a little bit here. I'm going to select it all, and the easy way or the quick way to adjust the leading, that's the line spacing, is hold Option and your up arrow key. You can see that tightens up the line spacing, but you can also do that up here in the control panel. You see right under the point size is the point size for the leading. So it's set right now to 164.8. So you can adjust it, but I always use the shortcut. That's Option on a Mac, Alt on Windows, and just use your up and down arrow key to adjust accordingly. And I'm going to also maybe just tighten up the tracking as well. So Option and just use your left arrow key. So I'm going to increase the size of the box here. And now let me just go down and make this box fit. So double click, and I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to center it to the slide itself. Okay. So 5 tips to help manage your time. Let's go ahead and make this the light purple in our swatches. Let's highlight 5 tips and let's make that white. So you want to emphasize 5 tips. You want to add emphasis to it. So when people are seeing this, it catches their eye right away. Now I do have, if I go back to my CC libraries, I have this little alarm clock that I want to add here. So let me drag that onto the page. I'm just going to drop it in. Now the cool thing with carousels is you can add content in between slides. So you can get some of it on the first, and as you're swiping, you could see the rest of the image. Now I want more of the image to be on the first slide rather than the second. And you can see the black line, the divider there that's dividing the two pages. So I think something like that is fine for now. And what I want to do here is also add a circle shape behind that alarm clock. Let's grab the ellipse frame tool, hold your shift key and just draw out an ellipse frame. And then let's give it that lighter purple color as well. Let's center it to the image. I'm going to send it backward. The quick way, Command, square bracket. That would be Control on Windows and square bracket. That's too big, so let me just scale that down a bit. I'm going to turn my guides off for a sec. And let's center it, something like that. And let's move it down and to the right a bit. Perfect. I also have a little arrow here that I'm just going to drop onto the pasteboard for now and drag right about here. So I'd like to align it with the top part of maybe that text there. So just grab a guide, snap it to the word help, and then you can maybe place that there. Or even better is what I'll do is I'm going to create another text frame here, and this I will type in the word start because this is kind of telling people to swipe through. It's almost like a call to action. This will also be rift, and let's make it bold as well. This will be white, and let's bump it up. Shift Command greater than. It's an easier way or the shortcut of increasing the point size. Let's do 62 is fine. Double click one of the corner handles to make that snap. Now what I'll do is I'll place that so it aligns with the top of the word help. Okay. And then you can adjust the arrow accordingly so it sits snug close to the word start. See how that looks. Just press W. That's good. I'm happy with that. We can move on to page 2 now. I'm going to add the content for the second slide, so I'm just going to paste in the title there. Let me zoom in. Again, this is going to be Rift, and we'll make it Rift bold, and the point size will be 142. Let's try that. Now it's going to be too big for that frame, so let's just expand it. I'm going to zoom out, and let's increase the size. Again, we'll have to decrease the line spacing, so Option. Make sure you have all the text selected, Option, and then up arrow key. Something like that will work. Let's adjust the text frame even more here. And what I want to do is turn the hyphenation off on this text frame as well. So let's just highlight all of it. Go to your properties panel. And down below here, just uncheck hyphenation. Now I can adjust this accordingly. And let's position it so it's right in the center of the page. There you go, perfect. Let's go ahead and select all this and make it the lighter purple again. Go ahead and make it that lighter purple. And let's select the word prioritize and let's make that white to add emphasis to that. Now I do have some extra text here to go along with the main title. So I'm just gonna copy that and let's paste that in here. Perfect. Now this will be Degular. So let me just adjust that. Degular, and let's make it maybe Degular display. Let's try light. I think that'll work. Let's adjust the text frame. And let's increase the size to, let me just go ahead and adjust the text frame like so. Let's make this white as well. And let's make the text size 60. Now I want to adjust the title, so let's move that up. Let's adjust that text frame, and you can see that the line spacing here is too much as well. So hold your Option and up arrow to tighten that up. And let's go ahead and turn off hyphenation there as well. Adjust that text frame and let's move it something like this. Is good. Perfect. So we have our second slide set there. And what I'll do actually is, instead of recreating this, I'm just gonna click on the title, hold my shift key and click on the text frame, and let's just create another copy of it. So hold your option key, hold your shift key down as well, and drag it to that third page. Now we can go ahead, select all this and make it the darker purple. This will stay white. We're just gonna change the text in the headline or the title. So let's copy the third slide title and paste it in. So this is set a time to complete a task. And let's just move the letter A to the last line here so it's not hanging. I'm gonna select the word complete and let's make that white. Now I do want to add an image to the right of this content. So let me turn my guides on. I'm gonna click on the title, hold my shift key and click on the body text, and let's move it to the right so it's snapped to the left side margin. Going back to my CC libraries, I have this little calendar image here. So let me drop it in your pasteboard area and then drag it to the area where you want. So something like that is good. If I just move it up, maybe something like this. I'm actually gonna swap that out so that this background, I'd like it to be, if I go to my pages panel here, let me drag the darker purple onto this page here. And let's adjust this so it's the lighter purple. Again, let's select just complete and make that paper so it's white. So what I'll do is on this fifth slide, I want that to be the lighter purple. So if I just scroll over and I'll drop that in there. I just want these two to be both purple. I think it just looks a little bit better, the darker purple together. Great, so now we can move on to what slide are we on here? I think we're on number 4. Yes, we're on 4. So I have the content for that and I'll copy that over. And so actually what I'll do again is click and just drag another version of it. Let's center it for now. And let's select all of it. And let's make it the darker purple. And I'll paste in the new title for slide 4. So this one is set realistic goals. Let me just expand that title a little bit more. Perfect. And I'll double click to make the text frame snug, and I will snap that to the center point and then just align the left side of those text frames. Actually, going back to the third slide here, I have to add what I have to do is add the updated copy. So here it is. I'll just paste that in there. Track how much time is being spent on a task, and be sure to leave sufficient time for others. Perfect, so that one's done. Let's copy and paste the new text into the 4th slide. Perfect. So here's a situation now where I do want to add another image in between 2 slides. And this will be this light bulb if I go to my CC libraries, this one here. So I want to shift this content over to the left, not all the way to the margin, maybe something like that, and then we could adjust accordingly. Let me move off to the right a little bit more. I'm going to drop that light bulb right in here, this area here, just so it's in between both of the slides here. And it'll look cool when we publish this or we upload it to Instagram. This is another example where when you're swiping through, you could see half of the light bulb on one, and then you get the whole image as you're swiping through. So it'll look cool, and I'll show you how that will appear once it's published. So I want to vary the titles a little bit just so the slides don't all look the same. So I'm going to go to that first slide again and copy this title. Let's go to our most recent slide. I guess this would be slide 5. And let's just paste it there for now. And this is just going to be a big, impactful title here. I'm going to select all of it and let's make that dark purple color. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to go to my alignment panel and let's align to the page and let's align the center and vertical centers there. So now I know that it is centered to that page. The light bulb here, you can have some of it overlapping. So if I bring it to the front, shift command and bring it to the front, you could see that some of the piece of that light bulb is overlapping some of the text. So that's a cool element that you can add to your carousel as well. If you find that it's interfering, then just kind of shift it over. Totally up to you. What I'll do actually is have maybe just a little bit and expand this, make it a little bit bigger. Something like this is good. Maybe that's a little too big. So something like that is fine. And then you can highlight the word manage. And again, let's emphasize that. We're choosing keywords in this carousel to really stand out. So here, maybe the word realistic, we can have that pop out with the different color as well. Now I'll just go back to that third slide here and make a copy of this title and that body text there. Just option drag, and you can drag it over to, let me just shift it over and drag it over to this page here, this last page. And what I'll do is I'll put my guides on. Let me just move it off to something like that. And then down below, I just kind of want to leave a message to thank people for reading the carousel. So just say thank you or leave a message, something like that. That's totally optional. But for this, I have another brush script font that I'll use. It's called Bomber Brush. Of course, you can use any one that you want. This is a font that I've licensed for myself. So just use a script font or something. You can actually use the fonts that you've been using throughout is fine as well. So Shift Command and then just bump that up, and I'll just make that go over 2 lines. Again, tighten up that leading, Option up arrow, or adjust it here in the control panel. You can also adjust it in the properties panel right here. So there's many ways of adjusting that leading. Let me just bump it up a little bit more, loosen the leading up. We'll make it white. And what I'll do is I'll double click the handle to collapse that text frame and then just move it somewhere in the corner here. Just a subtle kind of message to say thank you for reading, and I hope these tips help you. And so next, what I'll do is actually I want to add numbers to each one of these pages. Just another nice element. So grab your type tool, drag out a text frame in the upper left-hand corner of the margin, and let's type in 1. And again, let's make this for consistency rift bold. We'll make it white, and we'll bump that up to maybe something like 40. Let's go 46. And again, we'll just collapse that. We'll create another copy of it, and we'll drag it to our second page here. So you can do that. And we'll type the number 2 here. Copy. Let's paste it on the third. Again, we'll just put it in that upper left-hand corner. That's 3. We could just go to our 4th page here and type in 4. And we'll add another one here for 5. And I'll just type in 5 there. Perfect. So we have all of them. We have all of them numbered here, which is nice. So it just gives people more organization as they're scrolling through to know which tip they're on. And it's just a good way of adding a number system to your carousel as well. So now I'm going to show you how to export this. So there's a couple ways. You can export it as single pages, which you want to do because when you upload it to Instagram, you want to upload them as single slides. But let's just say you wanted to present this to a client, because oftentimes you may be doing this for a client or for an agency that you're working with. And so I'll just go up to File. First off, let me save this because I've been working and not saving, and that's not good. So I'll just call it IG Carousel 2, and I'll save it. Perfect. Now if I go to File and Export, I'm just going to save them in this untitled folder for now. Now let's just say I wanted to export the entire spread. Let me hit save, and that'll bring up the export PNG options here. Now we want all the pages, but we want the spreads here, okay? And I'll show you how that'll look once we export it. And you can see in the image quality, I always set it to maximum. And for this, 72 resolution PPI is just fine. The color space RGB is fine as well. So go ahead and hit export. So I'm going to bring it over here. So that is how it will look if you export it as a single spread. So if I wanted to send this to a client, then you can send it like this, and then they can see the entire carousel as it would appear on Instagram, which is convenient and a good way to consume the information quickly, and it's impactful. Next, I'm going to show you how to export them as single pages, and we'll have a look at how it appears on Instagram. So if I go to File and let's go to Export again, PNG is fine. And then we'll just call it maybe 2.0 here, just so we're not overriding that carousel. I'm going to click Save. And now instead of spreads, let's choose pages, and all the other settings are fine. Go ahead and click Export. Now have a look at this. If I bring over my Finder here, I can click all these, and let me just do space, and I can go through them, and this is how it will look as single pages, which is fine. So when you export them and upload them to Instagram, you're going to want them in this format as single pages. Perfect. So I'm going to upload this to Instagram, and I'll show you how it looks live on Instagram next. So here are all 6 slides in the carousel, and if I'm starting a new post on Instagram, I would just click on Select Multiple, and then just click them in the order that they would appear in the carousel. So there's the first one, followed by 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. And from there, you would just hit Next. And so you can kind of get a preview here. I know there's a gap there in between each slide. You get a preview here of how that would look. I would hit Next. That's where you would put your caption and your other details. I'm going to go back and show you how the carousel appears live on Instagram. So here's the carousel that I recently shared on Instagram, 5 tips to help manage your time. Very similar to the one we just created in InDesign. And if I swipe through, there's slide 1 or tip 1, tip 2. You can see that nice color transition. There's the light bulb where 80% of it is on this slide, but as you're transitioning through, you could still get the rest of it in between slides. There's tip 4, tip 5 with the thank you note, and so that's how it would look on Instagram. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create Instagram carousels using Adobe InDesign. If you found this video helpful, leave a like or comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notified when new lessons are uploaded. If you'd like to learn more about Adobe InDesign, check out this playlist right up here. Until next time, take care and keep creating.